The gentleman from Minnesota is recognized for 2 minutes.
I thank the gentleman from Georgia, and Mr. Chairman, I rise today in opposition to the Congressional Black Caucus substitute budget, if for no other reason is that there is a price on work, savings, and investment. And when you raise that price too high, guess what you get? You get less work, savings, and investment, and you get less economic growth. Look at the growth rates we've had over the last 10 years under astronomical debt and deficits. If spending could create an economic juggernaut, we'd have one now. But instead, we've got 1.5% growth, 1.9% growth, 2% growth, nowhere near what the pro-spending lobby would suggest. But yet, if you look at the 1920s, you look at the 1960s, you look at the 1980s, remember JFK in that famous economic club of New York speech said the surest way to raise revenues is to cut tax rates now. And it worked then, it worked in the 20s, and it will work right now like it did in the 1980s as well. And the reason is simple. The reason is very simple. Once you lower the price of work, savings, and investment, you not only get more of that, but you leave more capital in the private sector where it's put to use. When you have capital put to use in the private sector, workers become more productive and they earn more. I've always said the truck driver is much more productive with the truck. And the people that have the capital that can buy the truck is what makes the economy go. We don't have a revenue problem in this country. Last year we had record tax revenues, $3.26 trillion, and yet a deficit of $587 billion. We have a spending problem. And the CBC budget increases spending above the CBO baseline over 10 years, while our budget is underneath the CBO baseline for 10 years. Our budget cuts taxes across the board, including eliminating the bottom rate that we suggest in our tax reform plan. This is a question of American vision and the American dream. Our vision is for more capital in the private sector, more incentives to work, savings, and investment, and more people with rising incomes. Their vision is to protect the government budget. So I stand in opposition to this particular substitute budget, and I yield.